What's up, YouTube? It's FitzBro, and I've got some exclusive information about Age of Mythology Retold that was not shared in the New Year, New Age broadcast. Now, if you haven't already, you'll want to go over and check out the Steam page for Age of Mythology, wishlist this, and you will find several beautiful images just like the one you see here in this article. But what was not included was some details about what might be changing about this new edition of Age of Mythology. And it appears that PC Gamer had an interview with one of the developers, and we're going to be sharing everything that's included in this article. Now, if you like Age of Mythology, AoE 3, AoE 4, anything Age of Empires, consider subscribing to the channel. Leave me a comment down below. It helps me out with what I do. Let's dig into this. Age of Mythology Retold's developers are going way beyond the definitive editions for Age of Empires. We want to build the game in your head, is the quote here. This is an article by Jonathan Bolding with PC Gamer. I'll leave a link down in the description. Revamped graphics, changes to unit numbers, and mythological powers are set to Retold a huge update to the 2002 RTS. If you didn't see my previous video, I went through all these screenshots in depth and they're beautiful. So go check that out for this unveil of Age of Mythology. But let's see what's in this article that is new. The upcoming AoM Retold has been shown off in depth for the first time during Microsoft New Year, New Age livestream. Now, I would say this is debatable. It definitely was not shown off in depth during this livestream. This person seems to have got the details that I would have loved to see in that broadcast. Marking the first showing of the definitive edition of everyone's favorite Age spin-off announcement in 2002. Now, it's interesting they used the word definitive edition, as they've clearly said this is Retold and not definitive edition, but anyways, is what it is. The new segment showed off some of the game's signature mythological monsters in detail. So this is talking about the augmented reality. If you saw the show, they showed you a lifelike Medusa, Pegasus, etc. But you probably already saw that. Let's get into what is new. That's just what Age of Mythology Retold producer Ernest Yuen had to say when I spoke to him about it, which will release later this year. It is going to be on PC and Xbox day one. So I know I've seen people ask, is this going to be on Xbox day one? It's going to be on both. Should be pretty cool. Yuen had worked at Microsoft for nearly a quarter century, starting as a QA on the first Age of Empires. It's clear that his love for the series runs deep. So let's get into what's new. The studios plan to remake the first fully 3D Age of Empires, required a different kind of work, and inspired the team to go to new lengths in their upgrades to the game. AoM Retold is way beyond what we normally do for definitive editions. He and the team want to make the game as epic, engaging, and pretty as players remember it, rather than simply updating what was there. We want to build a game that's in your head. So they're going to take a few liberties. A few things are going to change a little bit. It's not just going to be, a cut and paste of what we saw from the original Age of Mythology or even Extended Edition, right? It was really pretty much just the base game. That means using changes to the graphics and game engine that were made for AoE 3 Definitive Edition, then going beyond that. The start is adding ray tracing, upping the population limit. That's a huge one. Population limit really is a big thing in AoM. If you've played, you feel like you're often hitting that ceiling. And adding an engine to handling special effects. Pop limit in particular will be a big change for Age of Mythology, not just in how visually impressive it is, but in the fundamentals of how it plays. Strategies in Age of Mythology were often boxed in by the strict limits on units set by the limitations of the day's graphical text, even if it widely was praised at the time. And I've been playing Age of Mythology recently on my stream. Come hang out on my Twitch streams. I've got a link down in my description. I've been streaming OG Age of Mythology. If you want to come hang out, see what it's all about, get ready for Retold. But what this is going to mean is if they are increasing the population ceiling, are they going to be rebalancing all of those units to perhaps be a little bit weaker since there's going to be more than before? Or will it just be, well, you've got more units and that's just how it is. You'll have more to defend as well. All those numbers go up. It'll be interesting to see how that works out. I'm sure all the balance will probably get a little bit of a tweak as we know it. But this is going to be significant. And I think this is a really good experience for Age of Empires RTSs. You want to feel like you're in a big battle, right? So only being able to get like 10 chariots and like a few myth units and some siege, like it doesn't feel so good. But instead you can get 20 or 30 of each of those units and have these big battles. Now we don't need Beyond All Reason scale, but I think that will make a lot more fun in environment. So I'm glad to see that that's likely going to be changing, as long as the performance is good, of course. Another big gameplay tweak comes in how much control you have over your myth units. Back in 2002, they just used their powers whenever they were off of cooldown. So for example, a mummy has an ability that he can just one-shot a unit and turn it into a minion, and it's dead, right? And then it has a cooldown. Once it finishes cooling down, it can use it again, and it just auto-uses it as soon as possible. This is saying that you're going to have control over that. So assuming there's going to be a button or a toggle, so maybe you want to save that ability so that you don't accidentally minionize a little axeman and save it for maybe an elephant or a myth unit. But I like this level of detail, giving you more control over units and a little bit more strategy and tactical, and give you a little bit more edge if you're up on your APM. So I love to see that that's going to be included. In Retold, we're going to make it so you actually make the user controllable. You can actually micro and use them when you want to. So that's super cool. I love the cover art, by the way. It looks really nice. Most notably, I will say this cover art is look at how they depicted Gaia here. Very different from that original artwork. These others are very similar, right? But yeah, very interesting. The other huge change is in your god powers. Rather than one and done bolts of lightning that will never reappear, those powers are now on cooldowns. It's a fundamental and huge change to Age of Mythology, but has been well received by the cadre of high-level competitive AoM players recruited by UN in the studio to participate in playtesting. And if you see this, get me in on the playtesting. I want to try this. Hopefully we'll get to at some point. But this is something huge. So if you haven't played Age of Mythology, as you go through the ages, depending on the minor god you pick, you get a different god power. Maybe in Age 1, you get a 1 Thunderbolt and you kill a unit and it's gone. Maybe in Age 4, you get a Meteor Strike or an Earthquake, right? Some different abilities. So they're saying now you're going to be able to use these multiple times on cooldown. Now, I will say they kind of experimented a little bit with this. The Atlanteans have some options to use god powers multiple times, but they're a lot lesser, right? It's not like you're calling it an earthquake every time. So if they're going to have these cooldowns, I'll be interested to see. We talked about balancing of maybe units earlier. More likely, balancing of the god powers. Maybe they'll be a little bit weaker if it's a long cooldown, or maybe they're kind of meant to be game enders and the tempo breakers to bring that back. But I would imagine maybe like the early age ones you would see come back faster. Maybe later ages, they take longer to cool down, on cooldown. And in that clip up above, you saw I first noticed there are tons of Sons of Osiris, right? That's shooting the lightning bolts. I was like, how is this happening? And that's probably why, right? That has to be why. He's able to do it multiple times. But that's going to be really exciting. I'm thinking as a caster, that's going to be so hype to have these moments of, everything you love from casting RTSs, and then suddenly, boom, in comes another Meteor Strike at a crucial moment, or even in team games, they combine their god powers. That's going to make for some very epic esports action, and I couldn't be more jazzed about that. For UN and the team, the tweaks are all about making the game more fun, and most importantly, more competitive 22 years later. Their hope is that this updated version will help boost the still extant competitive community and tournament scene around Age of Mythology, the same way the Definitive Edition did for AoE 2 players count to skyrocket to the extent that it's now included on esports sites like Wikipedia. Now, we've got a very big statement coming up here. The god power change is both great for esports and for watching the game. Because like a key cooldown MOBA match, that lightning bolt or meteor coming back soon, it's great anticipation. This is really interesting. They specifically mention esports, the producer, in this. Now, maybe every RTS designer always anticipates their game will be an esport, but that's not necessarily every game is definitely not designed in a mind like this is going to be the next esport or be super competitive. It sounds like they're really kind of targeting that with Age of Mythology, and that gives me a lot of hope that there'll be a lot of life support and a lot of balance changes and DLC to come even after this comes out. The hope that is by making the game a little bit more accessible and helping it conform a little bit to a modern expectation of what RTS is, they can encourage some of the fun stories they've heard from the players of the past Definitive Editions. Whether that's participated in a revitalized competitive play scene, watching tournaments organized by the community, discovering a classic, or enjoying a game they loved with their kids. With kids of their own. And I'm having my first kid. I'm having a boy here in May, so I can't wait to someday let him try Age of Mythology Retold. Maybe there'll be multiple expansions by then, hopefully. The entirely updated interface is a given for a remaster like this, of course. But the game balance changes and exploit fixes are vital as well. Those things need to be updated. If we don't patch those and fix those exploits, the game will not be viable as an esports game. They're calling out, again, esports. It's important we need to fix those things so our community can run the tournaments they love. In the end, though, Microsoft team still wants it to be a remake that emphasizes how great the original was, not discard what made it great in the first place. All the changes we made will not break on that promise. So that is a major breaking news from the producer. Why the was this not included in the New Year, New Age broadcast? Who freaking knows? Because this gives you a lot of details about Age of Mythology Retold. I'm super excited about the God powers, being able to use those multiple times. The fact that you're going to be able to control your myth units cooldowns, bigger unit pops. And then another thing I noticed when I looked on the Steam page, Capture Age was mentioned in the developers, and that means Capture Age will be designing the observer mode, meaning this is going to get a full-fledged, legit observer mode, which will lead to tournaments, castings. You know I love to do that stuff, so in the very near future, you'll see me uploading some Age of Mythology Retold casted games. I hope you enjoyed this in-depth look into the PC Gamers interview of Age of Mythology Retold. I will be keeping my ear close to the ground with anything I hear about this game. You know I'll be bringing it to you here first on YouTube. I also have an Age of Mythology role in my Discord, so if you just want to come chat about it, or just share anything you like or happy about, or anticipating with AoM Retold, come see me in the Discord. But anyways, thank you so much for watching, and come check out one of my live streams. I'm playing some AoM Extended Edition out on Twitch, probably right now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.